Okay, so we're going to go quick, and I want to make sure that you guys get some big stuff. And I also know that it's, we're at almost lunch, so it's like you've been doing this a while. So I want to make sure that, like Nicole, we get the energy up. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go way faster than I normally go. I'm a fast talker. I'm going to go double speed, all right? Your job, you got one job. Take notes quick. I'm going to make the points as fast as I can. We got some big stuff to cover, and we got 3 brilliant people that have brands that I want to share with you on stage. We're going to have a panel as soon as I'm through yapping, okay? So here we go. So let's talk about this thing called dominating the market. By the way, how many of you would like to make a ton more money in the next 12 months than you've been making? How many think it's essential that you make more money the next 12 months than you've been making? Okay, so everybody raises their hand. That's easy. The question is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to get that to happen? What changes will you make? What will you do differently? What will you create for yourself? And of course, the ultimate thing is we're talking about right now the marketplace is dishing out some stuff. And the question is, how do you see it? How do you see it? Not what's happening. What's happening is what's happening. How do you see it? So do you see it as a drought? Are you lost in the drought? You're listening to the news? One of the first things when Allison and I met, I remember telling her, I don't watch the news. I'm ignorant. I'm completely ignorant. I have no idea what's going on in the world. I've caught a little bit of this political thing going on, but generally speaking, I know nothing about what's going on. And I'll tell you what, that in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening, when the news is the same news over and over again, and tomorrow it's the same news over and over again, and the next day, you don't need to be watching it. What I know is they're talking about the drought. I'm not interested in the drought. How many are not interested in the drought, but they're interested in seeing the possibilities? Because that's exactly what we have in front of us, okay? So here's my real question that has to do with you, and that is, here in the Dallas market, some of you are from Austin, we got people here from Houston, all over, we got people from Colorado. Where's my buddy? We got people from Colorado here. So wherever you're from, the question is, were there listings, any listings taken this last week that you did not get? Yes or yes? I'm sorry, yes or yes? Yes. So, that means somebody got them. Were there any buyers that went under contract in the last week that you didn't represent? And the rest of you? So here's my question. Is there no business being done, or is it you're not getting the business? And if you want the business, you're going to have to do something completely different. You can't talk about what's happening out there. One thing I learned a long time ago, Jim Rohn was my mentor. I spent 8 years with Jim Rohn. If you don't know who he is, write it down, R-O-H-N. If you're too young to know who he is, look him up. You deserve to know him. He's been gone for 13 years. But I remember him saying to me, it's not what happens, it's what you do with what happens that makes the difference. It's never about what happens. What happens, happens to everybody. It's hot outside. So what? Who gives a crap? It's cold outside. Who cares? It's raining outside. I don't care. It's snowing. It doesn't matter. So here's what I do know, that 90% of success is, I think Sheila said today, 80%. I'm going to bump it up and say it's all mindset. Skills play a small role, but if your attitude sucks, you got no chance. It doesn't make any difference. You're already dead. So I'm going to give you something that I learned when I spent some time with Jim Rohn in the early years. Little guy that some of you will know, Tony Robbins and I started when I was 18 and he was 17. We started working for Jim. So I've known him for a long, long, long time. In fact, for those that were in BUILD here in the past years, we got him because we're long-standing friends. I want you to write this down, take a picture. This is an important thing. There are 4 ways that we get leverage in our business, 4 ways. I'm going to talk about one of them today, but I'm going to hit all 4 of them quickly. Number 1 is personal growth, who you are. Sheila said her be board, right? Her being. Who are you being? So the personal development, you're never going to make more money than you are growing into. You may get lucky, it's going to shrink back because you are the ruler of your own world. When people say, what do you think, the world revolves around you? The answer could be kind of. Because it's my thinking and my world that I'm seeing. It's not the world, it's my world I'm seeing. It's my world I'm playing into. So number 1 is personal development. You've got to increase your capacity. You've got to be bigger than you are now. You've got to think smarter than you think. You've got to think bigger than you think. I've got a program called Live Big, Think Big, Live Big. And it's what it is, right? If you think big, you will live big. All right, number 2 is systems and processes. Again, lots of stuff to say about that because everything you do, if you do it more than once, should be a process or a system. You've got to have a structure for it. But we're not going to talk about that today. Then we get to marketing. Marketing is kind of important. What does it say? It works when you don't. Marketing is your ultimate leverage from my perspective because most of what we spend our time with or lament about not spending our time with is lead generation. How many would agree with that? Some of you spend a lot of time in it, and some of you lament not spending any time in it, but you spend all that time lamenting about it. Sure as hell wish I'd make some calls. So what if the calls were coming to you? What if they saw you, knew you, liked you, trust you, and called you? Would that be better? Would that be easier? How many would like that instead of what you've been doing? So that's marketing, guys. That's marketing. By the way, got to go back. Sorry. Can somebody take that back? I don't know how to do it. Can somebody go backwards? No, sorry. No. Now, okay, I got this. Sorry. My bad. And then now back. I don't have time to make these mistakes. Come on. Can you move it back for me? One slide, please. There you go. And the fourth and final one is people. And in our world here in EXP, for sure, if it isn't always the case, people is one of the biggest, most important parts of our business. And here's what I really understand. No one succeeds alone. You hear about self-made people. There are no such things. Nobody's self-made. Everybody works with and through other people. So it's a fabrication to say they're self-made. Everybody requires somebody else. No one succeeds alone. It's not possible. So what we do know is that people are a big part of it. And in most business models, the people around you don't really matter except that they're your buddies. But in our model, we can create the fortunes that we want. When you watch Sheila Fageron up here with 15,000 people. Gene Frederick, 16,000 people. When you start working through people, with people, you start to realize your fortunes. That's the leverage. So now we go forwards again. There I am. That's the guy with the mustache. Anyway, that's a long time ago. By the way, notice that we were winning. And can you imagine we were getting plaques and awards and trophies? Like, who cares? We get icon awards. We get money. We get cash rewards. We get stuff, right? All in favor? Say aye. Trophies are not that good. But do notice that Tony Robbins is not in the picture. He did not win a trophy that month. I won. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, so marketing is all we're going to spend the rest of our time on. We will get done as fast as we possibly can. If you would like a workbook that has some stuff that's way more than I have time for because I don't have time today, just scan that real quick and you can get the workbook. It'll have some things in it we will not be talking about. I wish we could, but we don't. Can't. Won't. Will not. Not yet. All right, you got it? I got to go. No. God, we just checked this yesterday. Okay, all right. What are we going to do? It worked? Okay, so it's working for some, and then some of you need some tech training. Maybe some of you have like an Android. That would be an issue. All right, so if it's working for some of you, not for others, if you see me in the hallway, ask me. I'll make sure that we do something to get it to you. All right, so here we go. We got to go. So here's my question. Is it a sales tactic? You get into real estate. What do they tell you to do? Do social posts. You're new in real estate. What should I be doing? Do videos. You're new in real estate. What should you be doing? Send postcards. You're new in real estate. What should you be doing? Get a website. All that stuff. Or should you be actually strategizing about a well-planned marketing campaign that through time builds a brand, that through longer time builds a bigger brand, that through longer time builds even more of a brand, and pretty soon 2 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, you're not only growing forever, but you're bigger than you ever imagined. Or you can make calls for the rest of your life and wake up every day going, shoot, I almost said something else. Shoot, I don't have any business. And I'm suggesting that marketing rules because it's the best leverage you've got. Now, if you've ever seen, and some of you old-timers go back a ways, I'm one of them. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying some of you go back long enough. House ads. And then we went, no, I'm branding myself. Look, I put my little ugly agent picture there. Well, that's not personal branding, right, Andrew? This is not personal branding. And it gets worse because now in the modern era, we go, that's stupid. We'd never do that. No, we do Zillow instead. and then you don't even have a picture on there, and somebody else gets your leads from your listings. That's the worst. Turn to yourself and say, that's dumb. Yeah, to yourself, not to the other people. All right, so now here it is. You're the brand. Allison said it. You're the brand. You're the brand. You're the brand. Promoting houses is worthless. Promoting your company. EXP, we love them, but we don't promote them. The reason it came here is because they let you build your own brand. That's what you should be doing. It's not EXP's brand that's going to make you successful. It's EXP's model that's going to make you enormously successful, but it's not going to make you successful, but the brand. All right, so here's my question to each and every one of you. Listen carefully. Are you a commodity? Do you know how many agents are in the greater Dallas area? Who can tell me quickly? Brandon. I heard 50,000. How do I hear 50? Do I hear 50? Do I hear 50? 50. 53,000. Linda says she's an authority. She knows. 53 frickin' thousand people. Are you a commodity? In Austin, when we moved back to Texas just a few months ago, and I'm hearing Austin's got 20 frickin' thousand people. Are you kidding me? 20,000 people. Are you a commodity? Are you just another bunch of oranges? How do I differentiate you from everybody else? And here's the thing. I walk into HEB, which you guys have just got now in this area. And we walk into HEB and there's 2 stacks of oranges, one over there, one over there. These cost more. How come they cost more? Anybody know? Marketing, what's on the key? What's the key to the marketing? The brand, which is what? Read it on the screen. Sun-kissed. Now let me ask you a question. Oranges grow on what? Trees. Trees. What makes a sun-kissed orange way better? It grows on a golden tree, a special tree. It's a frickin' tree. How do we charge more, Trey? How do we charge more for a sun-kissed orange than we do for a regular orange? It's sun-kissed. If your brand was that valuable, you guys would be making fortunes. You wouldn't be complaining about the market. You'd be tackling the market. You'd own the market. All right, so you got to own the marketplace. That's what it's all about. You want to be at least in the top 3. If they're thinking realtors and they're going to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, by the way, all those listings you didn't get that you said you didn't get, they didn't call you. They didn't even call you. You weren't even in the top 7, 12. You didn't even get an interview. You got nothing. So write this down because this is one of the most important things I'm going to say in my short time, and I'm probably way over already. I am. Yeah. All right. I'll finish quick. So is this good? Are you guys getting something, though? Is this making sense? All right. So brand is the digitization of your reputation. Your reputation. How many know that reputation is kind of important? We think that brand is something I'll get to someday, but reputation is important now. Reputation is your brand. Brand is your reputation. They're one and the same. It's just the digitization of your brand. So it's really important. When you start looking at somebody like Daniel Beers doing ads like this and offering things like your home sold at 100% of your asking price in 29 days, or I'll pay you the difference, how do you compete with that? Do you know there's a guy that I worked with? We built his brand for him, and some of you will know what I'm talking about. Others will have no clue, but his name is Mark Spain. Anybody know who Mark Spain is? Okay, so if you come from the wrong parts of the country, he's in your area, and that's unfortunate because he's got 100 or 150 billboards all over your city. He's here now. Yes. Beware, you'll start to see my friend Mark Spain because his branding is very similar to this and will kick butt. I'm not talking about having to have everything be awesome, but everything looks the same. So your brand is your brand is your brand is your brand. We see you. We notice you. Or, by the way, picking a specialty, your divorce specialist here, Laurel Starks, and she's written the book on it. She's not just good at it, she's written the freaking book on it. And you're over there, I want everybody. No, you don't. You want the people that are for you. And we're going to talk about that on stage with our panelists. And by the way, when you've got Amy Mae running billboards all over, 14 billboards at the same time in her small town, Yakima, Washington, guess who rules the marketplace? All right, so write these 5 things down and we're going to quit. I mean, not even, yeah, we'll quit, okay? 5 things. This is going to be really important. Take a screenshot or that's what the camera things at the top means. Take a screenshot, but listen to me carefully because I want to give you these. Number 1 is the first thing. It's going to be really important for you guys to get the significance of these 5 things. First thing is your UVP, your unique value proposition, unique selling proposition, USP, your uniqueness, what makes you stand out, what makes you different, who are you? By the way, core level, what makes you special? What is your superpower? When people say, wow, you know what, you're great, I love you because you're so what? That's your superpower. Okay, so get that one figured out right away. Your target market, by the way, I'm sorry, I went backwards. There we go. Target market's number 2. You got to know who you're targeting. Who is your target market? It's not everybody, it's somebody specific. You're going to hear that in our panel. And then, by the way, the offer strategy for attracting them. You got to have a strategy for getting to your target market to give them the message of the UVP, the USP, the who am I and why do I matter? Now, we get into real estate, and what do we start with? Number 4, we start with tools. Let's send out postcards, let's do things, let's do a website, let's do all that stuff. That's number 4. We've skipped number 1, number 2, number 3, and we wonder why number 4 is not working. It's because we have no clue who we're going after. We have no idea what the messaging is, and we have no idea our target. We have no idea what our strategy is going to be. We just are doing stuff because they told us to. Okay, and then finally, the 5th one is the execution implementation. All right, so I want to get our panelists up on stage because we're going to prove this to you. I want to do, while they're bringing it up, and if you guys can grab, maybe we can get somebody to help with the chairs. I want to show you one thing. If you can keep your eyes over here with me and on the screen, okay, while they get the chairs up. So I want to show you something because there's one other piece that I haven't talked about, and I want you to write this down. Your story is critical. Your personal story is what will connect to the heart that Allison was talking about. It's your story. So I want to show you something very quickly. Now, we also lived in Puerto Rico, where so many people, you hear about all these people in Puerto Rico. We were one of them. We just moved back. We're back here in Frisco now. But if you take this little flag here, this is a 3x4 flag, and if you take that flag and buy it at True Value, how much does that cost? Anybody know? Give or take. $40. Okay, $40. Now I have a question for you. How much does this one cost? Well, we don't even know the story, but how many guess there's a story behind it? And if I put this on eBay and I told a little story, how many guess it's worth more than $40? I'm guessing $400? $4,000? Okay, wait a minute. How about this one? How much is this one worth? It's priceless. How much? Who said somebody? 1 billion. With 2,600 billionaires in the world, you know that somebody is bound to say, I'll pay $1 billion for that. So it's priceless. It's $1 billion. You know why? Because it was on the freaking moon and Aldrin put it there, or whoever put it there. I forget who dropped it. I think it was Aldrin. Armstrong. Thank you. I knew it was an A. All right. I got close. Here's what I want you to understand. Your story is critical because it's what builds your value to your target market. The way you tell it, that's UVP, that's part of your story. Who you are needs to scream to people out there. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Come on up, guys. Let's get you up here. Hold on, I'm going to introduce them real quickly. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, that's me. There we go. Fancy Nancy, Messiha, Rosemary Lewis, and my friend Jaran. Okay. All right. So I'm happy to have all of you here. Thanks for being here.
They're so good.
Thanks for having us.
All over the nation just
So these guys are kind of branding big deals, okay? I'm just going to tell you. So I've known Nancy for a long time, just met Jaran, just met Rosemary. Rosemary, there you go. Yeah, I know I can do it. I can do it. I'm focused on Rosemary. And by the way, had no idea of their brands. I knew this one, okay? Fancy Nancy. Yeah, right. How many here know Fancy Nancy? How many know these people before? I mean, these are big brands, right? So we want to talk to them about what's been going on. Do me a favor, Nancy, let's start with you. Give us a little background and quickly your story, the CNN version, the little short version.
So short version is I've been in real estate for 21 years. I started working for a builder. My nickname is Fancy, so there it is, Fancy Nancy. I'm Fancy. So your brand has to be who you are, and so I exude that in everything I do. And so that's my brand.
It's an awesome brand. I love it.
Thank you.
Jaran?
I've been in the business for, is it working?
You get a microphone.
Okay.
I've been in business for 5 years, and my background was in commercial underwriting. And if you guys see the Mr. Forney, quick background story about that, my name is not the everyday name, so I just tried to figure out something that could stick. So,
All right. Hey, everybody. Okay, that was whack.
Who are
Hey,
you?
everybody.
Hey.
Hey, I'm Rosemary, your real estate bestie. I started in real estate the second time because I got punked out in 2008. That's a whole nother story. But the second time I transitioned from being an elementary school teacher into real estate in 2017. And real estate bestie just evolved because what I have found is at the core of it, everybody just wants community, right? We sick of doing business alone. We sick of buying houses alone. We sick of raising these kids alone. So real estate bestie is just all about coming alongside both clients, buyers and sellers, and also agents and being your real life real estate bestie.
Love it. So we've got some of their marketing materials that we can show, but I want to first talk about what the brand means. Like, how did you, let's talk about how did you come to what you came to? I mean, your story is kind of interesting and different than the normal business, but tell us a little bit about that.
So my tagline for my brand is "Live Just Fancier," and it just kind of came about because every time you transition through life, you know, YOLO, you only live once, right? So let's do it the right way. So it's kind of like live fancier. So when you go from an apartment to a house, you're living fancier. Just take chances, do things on your own. And so it's kind of just one of those things where it kind of is like always like live just fancier, like, and I try to exude that in everything that I'm doing. So it's one of those things where it's like, because your brand represents you, when you are speaking to people, you have to know your audience. That's the number one important thing. And so I know that my brand is a little bit extra, and so sometimes that's not going to be for everyone. And again, that's okay, right? Know your audience. But just that you need to make sure that it's like true to who you are.
So I want to have you say that more, because it may not be for everybody, and I think you're going to have that same kind of conversation, Rosemary, because so targeting markets tells you something. What are we trying to do? We're looking at, this is the group I'm going for. This is the group that I don't care about. I'm not trying to get to them. This is the group.
Yeah,
so how does that work out?
You can't be
play out?
everything to all people. Just like even in your business practices, you can't do everything. You can't be amazing on, well, let me rephrase that. I cannot, because that's just exhausting. So you cannot, be amazing on YouTube, TikTok, Instagrams, Facebook, like it's so many. And so when you get overwhelmed like that, then you just kind of stop and don't do anything. So you have to know what your market is and who you're targeting. And so for me, I know my niche, I know who it is that I'm targeting, and that's what in all my posts and things that I'm doing, that's who I'm talking to. I genuinely like to educate people. That's my goal. It's not necessarily about like selling the home. It's really just about the relationship that I'm building, because that's what real estate is. It's relationship building. It's not selling houses. Like we're building relationships, and that's what it is.
Amen, sister. Yeah, it's perfect. Jaran, I'm going to jump over you for a quick second. I want to get to Rosemary for a sec. So talk about your brand and the way it's played out, and how, because when we had a conversation, I was like, that's exactly what you were saying too. It's like, it's not about everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I started off in real estate, I joined a team, and the team was doing internet marketing, cold calling, a lot of the traditional things. And it works. I'm not saying that it didn't work. It just did not work for me. And I was good at it. I was closing deals, but at the end of that year, I literally wrote down all of my clients, and I really thought through, what deals did I enjoy? What people would I invite to my house, right? Who can I have relationship with beyond? And what I noticed is that those people that I attracted organically, where I thought that they just clicked on my post or they just reached out to me because of X, Y, and Z, I was like, I need to actually start being intentional about targeting her. And I'm being very specific. Like, I literally circled a name, and I was like, I want to work with more her. Her name is Tiffany. And I have like Tiffany is my client avatar. And every time I show up, I'm like, what does Tiffany need? She needs a best friend. So anytime that I am, whether it's showing houses or I'm showing up on social media with my Costco finds, I'm always thinking about what can make Tiffany's life a little easier. She is a mom of older elementary kids. She is a homeowner, right? Because I want somebody who's going to sell a house, and then buy a house. Tiffany wants to ball on a budget. She wants to know what diet we on. She wants to know when we cheat on our diet, right? She wants to know where we should go for date night. She also wants a market expert. She wants somebody that she can be honest with. And I really work to assume just 3 roles in my life for people that I'm working with or literally engaged with. That is to be their girlfriend, like somebody you could actually kick it with, your God friend, because I'm going to lead forward with my faith every single time. So who can we have honest conversations about where we're struggling and who we really need to be dependent on? And then finally, your guide, guiding you through whatever situation I have a little bit more expertise in so that I can support you along the way. And that's really what Real Estate Bestie has become.
It's fabulous. If you didn't note it, write it down. That is beyond target. There's the actual avatar. Who am I speaking to? Who am I writing to? Who am I communicating with? I need one person to talk to so I can imagine that, and that's who I'm talking to. Tiffany is the answer. Jaran, I want to jump to the center of the pack here, and you are newer in the business, but more importantly, newer to your brand. So the brand just started to come out. So tell us about how that happened and tell us about Mr. Forney.
So yeah, really everything for me kind of started in March, and just like most of us, we
Like 4 months.
Well, yeah, 4 months, yeah. So I did a smart thing. I said, okay, I know I can't be the only person who has thought about this Mr. City name or whatever it is. So there's actually a guy. He joined EXP. He's a part of our organization. It's called the DLE Network, and what he did was he trademarked pretty much all the common city names and whatnot, and it's called the Designated Local Expert. So I joined that in March, and they help you with Google Business and just being a local expert, right? For me, my wife and I, we have 3 boys. I don't want to be everywhere. I don't want to be a generalist, but I definitely want to know more about where I live in my backyard. I work out in Forney. I go to church in Forney. And I figured that name, when people see it, is going to resonate and pique interest or curiosity. People hop on Google, and if you go on Google right now, I should come up in the top 3 for realtors. Sometimes my phone, it gets to ringing, hey, I want a home valuation, or they have a question, or they need a real estate agent. So everything just kind of everything is happening fast, and it's still a work in progress.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. It's a great story of new. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen, is how many of you are tired of taking a listing 40 minutes that way and 20 minutes that way, and then you got to fight traffic in all directions? How many are tired of that? And why do we do it? I'm sorry, there's not very many hands. Is that because you're not taking any listings, or you just aren't doing it that way? So think about it. Every time we do that, we say, well, but I need the business. I need the business, so I'm going to go get it. If you come from a place of need, you're going to take things you shouldn't have. I love the decision. I've got 3 kids and a family that I really care about. I want to be around them. All in favor, say aye. Aye. What did he do? Creates a local dominance. It's powerful. What does a brand do for you, Rosemary? What like when you think about the interactions with clients, when you think about, the way that they treat you, the way they accept your commission price, I mean, everything about it, what does it do for you?
It already establishes trust. 9 times out of 10, there's so much digital currency. Like, I have so much digital proof of not only what I do in business, but just who I am, what I value. I even had a young lady walk up to me today and just said that she was impacted by how I show up. So as it relates to business, when my phone starts ringing, I don't have to, there's not an issue about what compensation is, because there is already that trust that is built there. And then people know, and I have to let them know straight up, okay, if you are going to choose me, just know you're stuck with me for life, right? And before I became Real Estate Bestie, I was branding, well, I wasn't branding, but I was calling myself your homegirl from life. I'm from Chicago, so if you haven't noticed. So we have just a way that we do things. So because of how much you put out there, what happens is I attract the business that I want to work with. But then this is the other blessing. The people that aren't going to be a good fit for me, I don't spend a lot of time, having to fire clients or working with people who I'm not in alignment with, because there is so much out about who I am and how I work that you attract I attract the type of people that I want to work with. And I was sharing with Don, almost all of my clients like literally have my home address. Because you know what, I throw a party and they're all cool and I invite them, right? And I've had someone, it was funny last year, she was like, so does this mean we come to the party? Like, because she's seeing, you know, how we engage and show up. So it's really about doing life with people. And because God is so gracious in allowing people to do life with me, and I'm, you know, buying and selling real estate is opening and closing chapters. Sometimes they're happy chapters. A lot of times they're not. So when you put it out there, like, I'm your best friend, like, you can have, like, yes, you bought a house with me last year or 2 years ago when y'all were getting married, but you can trust me to support you through the divorce, right? You can trust me with these tough conversations. You can trust me when, you know, you need to make some hard decisions. You can also trust me to say, you probably shouldn't sell that house. What other options can we have? And the brand, for me, if it's done nothing else, it's built trust, and I don't have to work with anybody. And I fired somebody recently at the consultation, right? I was like, oh, yeah, no. She wanted me to pick her up and drop her off. I was like, oh, no. Because my besties value my time like I value theirs, you know? So if you think that the value that I bring to you is picking you up and dropping you off, then we're not a good fit, because I wouldn't expect my best friend to drive across the town to show me a house. So that's what the brand has done.
Great. You guys get that? It's really powerful stuff. Nancy, your brand has been around long enough and you've been doing some great stuff. Let's talk about the same question. Like, what does it really do for you? How do people treat you? How do they see you? How do they react to price, commissions, all the things that we have to go, oh my gosh, I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know how to deal with that. Do you have to deal with that very often?
It's kind of the same as Rosemary. Our businesses align. So it's very much, you know, I'm Fancy Nancy. I have Fancy Fridays. It's a social media thing where I have to show up every Friday. So people kind of look for that, and with that, it kind of builds credibility. So a lot of my clients, when they're coming to me and approaching me, and we're having like listings, and you know, they know that I'm going to do the staging and I'm going to walk them through aesthetically what looks good. I'm not just going to list the house. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to make sure. I'm also an interior designer, so I'm going to make sure that the house is ready to go. And I'm nitpicky, and people that know that they're listing with me, I mean, I'm literally like, okay, don't hate me by the end of this, but we got a list of things to do. And I like walk through the house and I pick it apart, just like I know buyers are gonna do, but I start them off right? So I'm gonna get you the best value for what it is for your home, but I'm also gonna make you work for it. So, and we're gonna do it together. And so it's like, just like Rosemary said, we build that trust. And so the commission, I mean, we have to have the conversations, obviously, but sometimes, you know, I'm not going to say every client is like, yeah, I want to pay it, especially now with what's going on in the media. But I mean, once I explain the proposition and say like, okay, if you don't want to pay a buyer's commission, you know, you're now about to be entering the market as a buyer. So do you want to pay your own commission? And when I kind of like switch it and explain it, then they kind of get on board. You know, it takes a second sometimes if I'm being 100%, but the brand itself makes them know that it's kind of like fancy, credibility, luxury, like they're going to get the full experience. I'm not a discount broker. I'm not doing discount things. I'm not cutting corners, you know, so it's that kind of.
There is no blue light special at your house.
No.
All right.
And same with Rosemary. I mean, like my clients know that they're coming to my house. Like I have parties at my house. I have client events at my house. So it's kind of like they want to show up. Like when they miss my event, I give really great swag bags, and they're like, oh my God, they have like fear of missing out that they're not at my event because my bags are so cute and my gifts are cute, you know? So it's like that kind of presence that we are sharing with our clients.
Isn't this weird that people would have FOMO about a realtor?
Literally, like my events, they'll be like, I'm so upset I'm missing your event. And I'm like, I'll send you the swag bag to your house, girl. Don't worry.
All right, let's talk some technique real quick, and then we got one more question after that. How are you getting the business? You've been focused a little bit on some Google stuff. Talk about that. Give us a short course. What's been happening with that?
Really, it's just been, I look at the places that I frequent. So, like, I go to CrossFit 40. And, like, last year, I just did, like, 7 deals just from the community. But also, I'm just not, I want to say I'm just not, like, just anybody in the gym, meaning, like, there's some reciprocity, right? If the gym is having some type of functions or If there's like some competitions going on, I invest in that, right? There's a newer tea shop in Forney, and when they first opened, I just asked them, hey, what do you guys think about branding a Mr. Forney tea? They was on board.
You
I
got your
said-
own tea.
Yeah, they were on board, and I haven't gotten a client from there, but that's just a branding aspect.
Yeah.
That when people walk into the tea shop, they see the Mr. Forney tea. It's going to pique curiosity, right? So mine has been just more community. It's been church, just Google, investing into that, like making sure I have certain keywords like home appraisal or evaluation, and
Yep.
realtor near me, things like that, and those are the keywords that people are typing in, and also making sure that when your clients do leave reviews, you train them on how to leave a review. Hey, this is the best realtor in Forney. If you're looking to sell your home for top dollar in Forney, so just really teaching your clients how to kind of treat your business.
Right.
And I think that's what kind of has worked for me. So.
It's awesome. Let's talk about social media. I know both of you are really, all three of you are heavy in social media.
Yeah.
Rosemary, talk about what are you using, what's working?
I show up on Instagram every single day, like every day, except sometimes I do need a break, like it's a lot mentally. But I will show up on social media, in Instagram stories. I feel like there is a lot of opportunity to build relationships there. I will slide in somebody's DMs, but I also like to take it off social. So not only me showing up, but also me engaging. So let's just say I saw that you just moved to Frisco. If I have your phone number in my phone, I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to send you a video message like, oh my gosh, Don, I cannot believe that you are in Frisco. Let me know what well, I might be pissed because I'm like, why don't I know what neighborhood you're in? But I'm going to try to find out some information like what piece of value can I share with you? Make sure that you check out this restaurant. Make sure that you do this. And now it starts that two-way conversation.
Yes.
Also going very deeper with relationships. I'm more interested in going deeper than wide. So every week I have time blocked off on my calendar. I'll go on a walk every Saturday morning with somebody and we're walking and talking. And that produces business. In my neighborhood, I'm making sure that first of all, I speak. Like if you don't know your neighbors and you're a real estate agent, that's a problem. So speaking to your neighbors, being friendly. We have neighborhood events, offering things like, for instance, when the solar eclipse happened, I bought 300 pairs of solar eclipse glasses, and I just said, hey, I'm gonna be home from this time to this time, and I met so many people. I do a craft on Halloween, like everybody is passing out a little piece of candy that night with their business card. No, 2 hours before or 3 hours before, I do a craft every Halloween in my garage. That way, I get to talk to the parents, I get to talk to people, and right now I have 2 listings that came from people that I know that I met them with that craft. So ways that you can serve and go deeper with relationships, and now you are, like, it's no question on the people you're supposed to help, them coming to you.
It's awesome. All right, so we got people that are new, people that are experienced who aren't doing a lot of marketing, that are new to marketing. Words of wisdom, what would you tell them? What's the most important thing?
Most important thing is to show up and be consistent with your brand. They have to know who you are. Like when they see you, like people don't even know sometimes Nancy, they say Fancy Nancy. Like everyone calls me Fancy Nancy. They don't really call me Nancy. So it's that kind of show up that you have to have. So know your brand. Take time to learn it. Take time to figure out what represents you, because that's going to be the most important thing no matter where you are, because you're taking that with you no matter what.
Absolutely. Perfect.
I would say probably just maybe try to focus on being a local expert, and just instead of just trying to sell a house, like be the total package. Show them businesses and things they may not know about the city that they may not have known. Also, I believe in additions by subtractions and less is more. Sometimes as newer agents, we try to chase every new shiny thing, and that's the investment we get. We get little things from every little thing that we do. And lastly, I would say don't expect to reap from places you haven't sown. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be money. It can be relational, anything. But just try to look at people as people and not just a dollar or just a client. So.
Rosemary?
My biggest piece of advice would just be you are enough. I think that when you're starting out, we're looking at every different way other people are doing it. And there will be a voice in your head telling you, oh, you're not as articulate as her. Or you're like, the voice in my head was like, oh, you're just a little school teacher. Everyone's going to think this and that about you. But God made zero mistakes when he made you. Seriously, he made zero mistakes. So if you are not showing up, like there is somebody that he plans on using through you. He plans on using you to help them with their next level and with their blessing. And when we say, no, we're not going to show up, it's pretty much saying, okay, I'm smarter than God, right? And I'm not going to say that. So I just want to let you all know that, however, and you know, we talked about your superpower. So what is that? Are you relational? Sometimes we think it has to be deep, like we got to ride horses and play cello. But are you relational? But seriously, are you relational? You know, are you quick-witted? Are you friendly? Were you a teacher? Like, do you think very analytically? Whatever way he created you, there is something there that can be of great value to everyone in this industry and beyond. So I'm going to encourage you to tap into your creator so that you can understand the creation, which is you.
Amen.
I was just gonna say also, like, look for opportunities like within your community to make yourself stand out. And I know that especially if you're first starting out, it could be really overwhelming. Like, what is it that you do? Like, I'm really big on client events, and like I had mentioned, but there's like free events that you can do. So like one of the free ones that I do that people in my neighborhood love is Home Depot. Home Depot every Saturday, first Saturday of every month, has like a workshop for kids, and literally I put it in my Facebook group for my neighborhood because I started it, and I just put in there, hey, my son and I are going to this, who wants to come? And I, put me your name in here and I'll register you. And I register them, they show up, I give like little cute snacks. It's free, guys. I'm giving like a juice box and some goldfish. Like, it's not that serious, but it's something free, and I get in front of all these families. IKEA also has one. Look into IKEA. They have a design one. It's on Wednesdays, I believe. It's the second Wednesday. Look it up. But IKEA has one. But there's free events that you can do like that to get people to in front of people to have business that doesn't have to be like super overwhelming, because I know when you first start out, it's like you have to spend money to make money, but there are simple things like that, just like Rosemary said, activities in your own neighborhood.
It's perfect. Guys, marketing is critical. This is a good example of it. Nancy, thank you. Jaran, thank you. Rosemary, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.